double down on our efforts to catch up with science and technology and innovation. Science and technology and innovation, these are indispensable in the modern economy, in the modern world.
The problem being that, while we have our PhDs here, there aren't enough of us. And everywhere else in the world, for research to be successful, you need a complete research group.
It's very important that the PAASE members and scientists based in the Philippines are continuously in contact, so we will know the needs of the Filipinos and opportunities that the Filipinos can have to do science with their PAASE counterparts.
I think that is one of the good programs that they keep on supporting some of the initiatives of our researchers and scientists here in the country.
The role of this cooperation among these government agencies really is to be able to attract science and technology global-based companies to set up shop here. And that is really key in terms of developing the science and technology innovation ecosystem in the country.
We really need to ratchet up the appreciation, the recognition of the importance of science and technology and innovation.
And we are all trying to attain what we call the common good, the greater, higher, long-term good of the Filipino people.
Everybody, good morning. What a nice and sunny day here in Laguna. And for your information, it's official holiday for Los Baños on its 445 years old of existence. So a holiday po. Okay. So welcome to the PAASE Fireside Chat episode number 28. The title is Why Bring Future Earth to LGUs and Local Communities? We have invited the distinguished speakers and the actors for this particular Fireside Chat. I'll be your co-host, Ino Lansigan from UPLB, and also one of the members of the Board of Directors of PAASE. And together with me would be the President of PAASE, Dr. Giselle Concepcion. Let me just remind everybody to make our meeting, our chat orderly. During the presentation, kindly please keep your microphone muted unless you ask to be recognized to give a talk. And later on, during our open forum, we'll have, please use the Q&A icon to key in your questions. You may also request to be recognized to make your questions or make your comments or interventions. But please keep your intervention or comments short to give chance to the others to give their comments as well. So as I mentioned earlier, the title will be Why Bring Future Earth to LGUs and Local Communities? Future Earth is essentially a global network of scientists, researchers, and innovators collaborating for a more sustainable planet. This will be further explained by our speaker for this morning. Our speaker is a well-known Filipino biochemist whose research has contributed to understanding of the biochemistry of toxic peptides from the genome of fish-hunting conus marine snails. Our speaker is Professor Emeritus at the UP Marine Science Institute in UP Diliman, and she has also been conferred the title of National Scientist of the Philippines. She is also currently the leader of the Future Earth Philippines program. That's why she will be talking about Future Earth in the Philippines. Our speaker is no other than national scientist Lourdes Luli Cruz. Let's give her a round of applause, ma'am. We have also invited a distinguished panel of reactors. We have two reactors for this morning's talk. The first is Dr. Segundo Doy Romero Jr. He is a professorial lecturer at Ateneo de Manila University. He is also cluster head of the Advocacy, Communication, and Education Cluster of Future Earth Philippines. He is also president of the Universities and Research Councils Network on Innovation for Inclusive Development in Southeast Asia. And he is also opinion columnist of the Philippine Daily Inquirer. So welcome, Dr. Romero, to our chat. Our other reactor is an associate professor of the practice of global public health and the inaugural director of the Planetary and Global Health Program at St. Luke's Medical Center College of Medicine. He is Chief Planetary Health Scientist at Sunway Center for Planetary Health in Malaysia, and also the convener of the Planetary Health Philippines. He is no other than our colleague from Laguna, Dr. Ramon Lorenzo Luis or Renzo Ginto. Let's give him a round of applause as well. Okay, at this point, without much further ado, may we call on our national scientist, Lourdes Luli Cruz, to give her presentation on why bring Future Earth to LGUs and local communities. Take it away, ma'am. You have the floor. Thank you.
Sige, thanks, Ino. So, yeah, my topic, bring Future Earth to LGUs and local communities. And so I'm going to just introduce briefly Future Earth program, then the Future Earth Philippines initiative, and show yung mga napag-usapan namin on the interrelationships among SDGs, and then the UN Sustainable Development Report on the Philippines for the last 2 years, and the need to involve LGUs and local communities in attaining SDGs, and then present FEP as a platform for collaboration and development of knowledge to action programs or projects for sustainability. So Future Earth is a global network of scientists, researchers, and innovators collaborating for a more sustainable planet. And this is based on over 3 decades of global environmental change research involving the World Climate Research Program, the International Geosphere Biosphere Program, Diversitas, and the International Human Dimensions Program on Global Environmental Change. In 2012, the Future Earth Initiative was announced at the UN Conference on Sustainable Development, or Rio+20. And in 2015, a permanent secretariat was established, and Future Earth was launched in 2018. And at the end of this month will be the first Future Earth General Assembly. And this Future Earth is governed by UNESCO, International Science Council, United Nations University, the Belmont Forum, UNEP, the Science and Technology in Science Forum, and the World Meteorological Organization. So one of the people I met at the one of the Future Earth meetings is Mathis Walker Nigel, and who was the graduate student of William Rees when he developed the concept of ecological footprint at the University of British Columbia. And they established the Ecological Footprint Network, footprintnetwork.org, and has been working with the UN, influencing things at the UN. And so I got this graph about the Philippines, from 1960 to 2016 from the Ecological Footprint Network website. And this shows that the biocapacity of the Philippines from 1960 to 2016 decreased from 1 to 0.5 global hectares per person. That is the amount of resources, bioresources we need, to support our daily lives. And the amount of bioresources the Philippines has per person. And on the other hand, our ecological footprint increased from about 1 to 1.3 global hectares per person. So, for over for the past half century, our we have been running on ecological deficit. And so yung biocapacity natin is 0.5, ecological footprint in 1.3, may utang tayong 0.8. And so we really have to do something about it. Kailangan natin mabalance yung ecological footprint with the biocapacity. So because of this, group of scientists were concerned about the situation in the Philippines, and we brainstormed and decided to establish the Future Earth Philippines for Sustainability and Resilience. Actually, we are the first developing country to become a member of Future Earth. And so we thought our urgent mission is really to advocate and work for participation of all sectors in a national effort to increase the country's biocapacity and to reduce its ecological footprint. And the vision that we decided to focus on is a progressive and resilient Philippines sustained by inclusive science and technology innovation and a culture of integrity, equity, and Filipino values. And the medium-term goals are to improve the national capability to attain SDGs through knowledge to action programs for sustainability. We know that there are so many researchers that are related to sustainability, many effort towards trying to attain sustainability. Pero many of the findings minsan hindi na-apply, it does not lead to transformation. So what we need is knowledge to action programs. This is related to Future Earth knowledge to action networks. And we also want to have science-based policy recommendations for sustainability and resilience. So we presented actually initially a 3-year project to DOST, pero ayaw nila kasi for DOST on sustainability, I mean, if you look at the priorities of PCHRD, PICARD, and PSHERD, parang mas commodity oriented sila and so sustainability is not really in the research agenda. And Secretary said maybe in the next integrate national research agenda dapat ipasok yung sustainability. And so we implemented this September 1, 2018 to December 31. And the approach following the Future Earth approach is inclusive, transdisciplinary, and using a systems approach. By transdisciplinary, dapat natural and social sciences together. And inclusive, we will talk about inclusiveness later on kasi people say na, oy, inclusive kami, pero there are different levels of inclusiveness. And activities, we had mainly advocacy, working towards a whole of nation approach, symposia, and then workshops, mainly facilitated by DOI and other members of the Future Earth team. And then we did participatory drafting of knowledge to action proposals, policy recommendations, and cultivated partnerships and linkages. So here we have the launching of Future Earth in 2018. This is a seminar workshop in, I think, one of the hotels. And this is in the permaculture farm of Toby Tamayo in San Juan, La Union. So we were there, we did a workshop together with the DOST Region 1. And so one of the things that was suggested, kasi ang dami-daming SDGs, nung una we presented to be shared, and NEDA was there. Now we chose some SDGs lang kasi ang dami nila, hindi makaya. But NEDA insisted that we should consider looking at all the SDGs because these are interrelated. And Rodora Asansa suggested that we should focus on sustainable cities and communities. And so to have inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable communities. And so to have sustainable cities and communities, we need, healthy people and healthy environment. And so we thought, well, we need decent work and economic growth, no poverty, hunger, so that will lead to good health and well-being. And at the same time, we have life below water, life on land, clean water, and sanitation. And so there are SDGs which we thought are, so itong healthy people, healthy environment, this is really what we want. And there are SDGs that we consider as interventions. So this is quality education. We need to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, promote lifelong learning for all. Tapos, kasi with quality education, then we'll be more informed so that we'll have sustainable consumption and production, and we will have the capacity, knowledge and capacity to do things for climate action. And then, of course, we need quality education to be able to establish industry innovation infrastructure, and then to have clean, affordable, and clean energy. And these SDGs on top are all cross-cutting. So, andyan yung gender equality, reduced inequalities, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnerships for the goals. So we call this the guiding principles. Okay. Now, there's also this overlapping circles model, of course, because the SDGs, there are environmental aspects that some SDGs are focused on the environment, some on social and economic, but we need all of these three to be able to have a sustainability or sustainable development. And then at the Stockholm Resilience Center, they have this, came up with the wedding cake version of the representation of the SDGs, where at the foundation is the biosphere, the life on land, life below water, clean water and sanitation, climate action. So we need this to have a healthy biosphere. And then the society will work around this, we'll use the biosphere, but within planetary boundaries. And then the economy should be able to serve the society and operate within, again, the planetary boundaries. Okay, so how are we doing in terms of the our path towards sustainability? Here are two sustainable development reports for the Philippines. So in 2020, we had two green scores, the green arrow, the no poverty. That means that our decrease in our poverty is on track for us to reach no poverty by 2030. And then climate action is also green. But as you see here, quality education is deteriorating and life on land is deteriorating. And for us to be sustainable and resilient, we need both because these are closely interlinked. And so this is just to summarize what is shown by the UN SDG dashboard. So climate action, we are green in 2021. We are on green only with respect to climate action. And then quality education and life on land, we're deteriorating. So we get this red arrow pointing down. And then for 6 SDGs, 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, and 9, we are moderately improving, but not at a rate that will make us reach the goal by 2030. And in terms of 5, 7, 11, 14, 16, and 17, ano tayo, we're stagnating. So we think that, the way that's happening, we talk to NEDA, we talk to DNR, we talk with Climate Change Commission and DA. Climate Change Commission and DA are very supportive. NEDA is also supportive. And DNR, the Climate Change Division, is very supportive and will collaborate with us. But in NEDA, kasi mainly ang gawain ng NEDA is to monitor kung anong nangyayari with respect to monitor yung SDGs. And actually, this is done principally with the Philippine Statistics Authority. And so parang dumaan yung Millennium Development Goals, tapos ito na naman ang SDGs. Ganun pa lang tayo. Right now, we're only positive in terms of climate action. So attaining SDGs really cannot be done from just a top-down approach. It requires a whole-of-nation approach. So we thought we need LGUs as leaders and administrators of communities. They have to be well informed and have access to a wealth of knowledge to guide them as enablers of transformations to sustainability and resilience. And of course, we need to bring this down to the citizens and communities. They who have to be well informed, empowered, and motivated to actively participate in the effort to attain SDGs. And right now, we're reaching out to LGUs and communities. There's the Future Earth DOST 3 workshop, series of workshops for Pampangas and Fernando Lubao and Guagua. These 3 municipalities are the pilot for implementation of the Mandanas ruling in 2022. And then we also have Bulacan and Nueva Ecija, and Doy is the main facilitator for these workshops and problem tree analysis, and he will talk to you more about it. And we are now exploring, this is a pilot link with State University. We chose Cavite State University because we have a Future Earth as a project, Field Coast, linked to the Belmont Forum on Manila Bay. And so we'll be looking at provinces around Manila Bay. And so Doy suggested CABSU should develop as an SDG-aligned university to lead the advocacy for sustainability in the province and train and assist local leaders and citizens in developing knowledge to action programs. And Cavite State is very receptive to this. Now, in collaboration with the NR's Climate Change Division, they have identified 24 priority provinces based on their exposure to hazards and the poverty level. And the head of the division, Dr. Basug, is very happy that we are going to help them in trying to reach out to these 24 provinces. And we thought that the best way will be to link with the state universities of these 24 provinces. So, and help them, capacitate the state universities. Kasi hindi natin kaya ang trabaho, ang dami-dami dapat gawin. So we really need the help of all the state universities and other HEIs. The private universities can do a lot in a way because, mas madali silang kumilos ang private universities. Pag nasa gobyerno, ang dami natin restrictions. Okay, so ito naman yung we've reached out na not only to yung communities that we see in the in the towns, etc. We have reached out to the indigenous peoples. We had a workshop in 2018 for indigenous tribes from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. But before that, we've had a series of workshops already for the IPs. And at the last December, we invited Giovanni Reyes, who is chair of the Philippine Indigenous Community Conservation. I forgot what the A is for, but it's the consortium. It's a Kankanai Igorot. And then last April, with NRCP, we invited Timoy G. Midmansayagan, who is chair of the Lumad Mindanao People's Federation, Romanan. We have invited both Giovanni Reyes and Jimmy Mansayagan, several times before, and we know them very well. Mansayagan is an Aromanian Manobo. So this is Future Earth advocates for inclusivity and transdisciplinarity. And so I've just listed down here all the different stakeholders that we should really invite and engage in some of our activities. We have, of course, we've been, the OST in NAST and NRCP has been working with Academe and SUC's HEIs. We're supported by the OST, but now we're reaching out to national government agencies. And this is at the instruction of Secretary de la Peña. So he wants actually Future Earth platform to be established as a joint activity of the OST with the other government agencies. And we're reaching out to local governments. And then on the other side, we are also trying to link with non-governmental organizations, but we have very little link with the manufacturing industry sector, business and marketing sector. And media, we invite every now and then, but we hope we can convince media to help us in our advocacy for sustainability. And then, the reason we want to focus on communities and people's orgs and indigenous communities, kasi sila yung pinakamarami, sila ang nasa laylayan ng lipunan, really need help. Sila ang kailangan ma-strengthen. And so, ito naman yung platform. This is a brief that we want to establish Future Earth as a platform for collaboration and development of policies and knowledge to action programs for sustainability. So, merong non-digital and digital schemes to facilitate collaboration. We already have a website now, but down siya ngayon kasi nag-expire pala yung aming plugin. We need to reactivate it again. And so we link with Future Earth, and it's the attached organizations. And then we're linking also, we have talked to the Congressional SDG Committee, presented there, Glenn Tabios presented there about water. And then we want to strengthen these links with other agencies. And the focus will be knowledge to action programs at the barangay, municipal, provincial, and regional levels. During the exploratory phase, we had FEP clusters of experts that can now be tapped to assist the drafting of CAPs when we go to the provinces. And then, we're developing linkages with SUCs and HEIs. And here again, we reiterate the focus on knowledge to action programs at the local level. So, ayun, that's a description of what Future Earth is about. And our tagline now is SDGs are 17 ways to match footprint to biocapacity. Okay, thank you. And stop share.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am National Scientist Dolly Cruz, for your clear presentation about Future Earth, and also about the Future Earth Philippines and its programs and initiatives. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions or queries from our audience, but before we do the open forum, let's first hear from our invited reactors. May we first hear from Dr. Doy Romero Jr. Take it away, Sir Doy.
Okay. Maraming salamat, I am happy to be a reactor to Dr. Cruz. We find her to be almost like a beautiful butterfly metamorphosing, changing, a national scientist, so is now perhaps one of our foremost social scientists also. And taking action, bringing theories and making them realizable. I've worked with Doc Luli, and we have been trying to shift a lot of the attention from national level, theorizing, workshopping, connecting among scientists, engineers, academics, which is important. But we've realized that we cannot take all the time to do this. We need to immediately push down the effort to reach the local government units all over the country. And the reason why we want to do this is that, as Doc Luli already has mentioned, the LGUs are the ones who can make critical SDG-oriented problem-solving initiatives. Nasa kanila yung authority, nasa kanila yung pera, nasa kanila yung mandate, at sila yung inaasahan ng mga tao. The opportunity for taking action at the local level is also tremendous because there are a lot of untapped resources like our Patriot Scholars, yung mga pinag-aaral ng Science Education Institute ng DOST. They are given a lot of money, almost 20,000 pesos a month. And then all of them, or many of them, want to go out of the country at the end of the period. But we've realized that with the help of Dr. Gisette Bio, that you can all actually give them a Patriot Scholar orientation. And that's all it needs. And they cry during the graduation, and actually during this pandemic, we saw that they used the t-shirts that we gave them during our orientation. Nag-organize sila mismo na kanilang pagtulong sa kanilang mga munisipyo. But these are the resources that the LGU leaders can tap if only they had a paradigm and a big vision that is SDG oriented. And the Future Earth thinking is, of course, we think one of those paradigms. So Future Earth is organized by global and national scientists, and I think it is taking time for them to percolate their ideas and achieve alignment with strategies. It is time to consciously bring down the effort where the rubber meets the road, sabi nga nila. Now, the footprint and biocapacity gap na pinakita sa atin ni Doc Luli, I think is the most important knowledge element that we need to share. Many national and local government leaders, and indeed the people, don't realize that this gap is an inherited, compounded gap. Governance will always be disappointing, unresponsive, and poor unless the leaders realize the challenge and use science, technology, and innovation to dramatically redress the adverse national situation. I mean, 3 terms, even 9 terms of a governor or mayor are not enough. You really have to have long-term institutions like political parties that transcend the physical life of the leaders that we have. That's the only way to do it. These institutions must reach way into the future. It's not only the comprehensiveness, the scope that we're talking about. We are talking about the vision and the foresighting that is needed to see and project consequences of policies way into the future. Future Earth thinking should also enable us to bring in the big gun solutions, meaning paradigm shifts, system transformations, and integration. namangha kami ni Doc Luli, kausap namin yung San Fernando. Sabi nila, kailangan nyo kaming tulungan kasi we are competing with Clark. Baka masapawan kami ng Clark. And they were worried that their city will suffer in competition with the new city of Clark. But they don't realize that when you bring the level of analysis to the regional level, we were telling them, Central Luzon with Clark and Subic and cities like San Fernando and Angeles can actually be envisioned to be and built to be a Singapore. Di ba? Isipin nyo, Central Luzon as a Singapore, why not? You look at the resources, you look at the people. And actually, when you look at, and if we now think big and we do it right, a federal system of government, you can easily have 7 to 15 Singapores in the country. And they will not all be Singapores at the same time. Some will be Singapore earlier than others, but it can be done. So this is the kind of thinking about the future that we want to make happen. So Future Earth thinking should be part of our personal, community, and national operating systems. Parang operating system yan, like Mac, Apple, PC, di ba? But this operating system about the future and about comprehensiveness is not happening because we have not enabled our educational system to do it. But we need to do this. The idea, for instance, that local LGU officials should be planning on the basis of river basins, ridge to reef. They need to understand that, and there is much science and technology that they need to understand to be able to translate that into their comprehensive development plans. I live in Marikina. Bakit palaging nagfla-floods? Kasi yung rivers, they have memories. Di ba? They have memories. Hindi mo pwedeng palitan yung memorya niyan na iba yung dadaluyan niyan. So you just have to adapt. Anyway, so in Future Earth, what we're trying to do is to reach into the grassroots. Kung pwede nga barangay level, but we are seeing that medyo diluted na yung effort pagbaba. So we need help from our engineers, from scientists, from TESDA even, which is able to penetrate into the barangays. But we need to make this a big effort. Now, the Mandanas funds that Dr. Luli is talking about is a big chunk of funds which we can use. Ang problema, because of this family thing, you realize that where there is big opportunity, there is big plunder. So, worried tayo dyan. And bago ma-distribute sa mga LGUs yan, nabalak na ng mga national government people on how to hijack the money. I mean, that's just a pessimistic strand in my discussion. So, but these are the dangers, but there are opportunities. And the way to go is to think forward into the future, and Future Earth is what we need. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sir Roy, for your remarks. I like your comments on the Future Earth thinking, providing new operation systems for the way we approach development of the local communities towards resilience and sustainability. That's a nice one. But then, of course, we should be aware that while this provides new opportunities, there are also challenges that we need to face at the local level, particularly what we are been experiencing now in our country. At this point, may we call on another experts that we have invited direct from Calamba, Laguna, our province mate, Dr. Renzo Ginto. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And especially, I feel privileged to be speaking with national scientist Dr. Cruz, as well as Sir Doy, and of course, Sir Ino and Ma'am Giselle. And I'm really thrilled to be part of PAASE as a young scholar and practitioner. Just a brief background. I'm a physician by training, product of UP College of Medicine through the Intermed program. And so initially you might be wondering, what is a physician doing in this kind of discussion about the environment, ecosystems, food security, urbanization, etc. And I think the COVID-19 pandemic has really reinforced to us the importance of systems thinking, the interconnectedness between all these different issues, pressing issues that we're facing today. I've grown to become more than just the typical physician who is sitting in the clinic waiting for the patient, but not really addressing the ultimate causes of ill health, disease, and health inequality. And so my journey has been from being a physician all the way to becoming a public health professional, for instance, working on issues like universal healthcare, which is definitely embedded in the SDGs, all the way to this new concept of planetary health. You might have heard a while ago during the intro that I am the convener of Planetary Health Philippines, which is planetary health is a framework, another powerful concept that surely is very aligned with the future Earth's ethos, and I'm really thrilled that we're having this conversation. So I want to say that that brief intro to frame my thoughts about what we heard from Dr. Cruz, and really health is central to achieving the SDGs and achieving the future Earth that we want. As mentioned by Dr. Cruz, an Earth, a planet where the footprint and the biocapacity are being matched. And our hope is that the SDGs will be the channel for that. Although I wish to give a word of caution because, as you know, the SDGs, it's already quite ambitious, 17 goals, 169 targets. But there are still many different issues that confront the nexus of human well-being and planetary preservation that are not captured by the SDGs. Also, it has a deadline, 2030. But we know that a lot of the challenges that we're talking about now are beyond 2030. They are quite long-term and in fact, perhaps affecting the whole century, the whole 21st century. And so we need to embrace the SDGs. That's the blueprint that we have as a human civilization with the endorsement of the UN, but also interrogate the SDGs. Are these SDGs sufficient, again, to achieve that biocapacity that Dr. Cruz was mentioning? I think and I also heard from Sir Doy all the efforts in terms of trying to bring Future Earth, the SDGs, to local communities. I think SDG localization is actually not just a unique Philippine problem; it's a global problem. We already have the SDGs as the framework for the past 6 years. We only have 9 years remaining before 2030. And unfortunately, a lot of the discussions are still, at the global, regional, and national level, and very little on the ground. I remember, I think even the UN is still discussing about metrics and not so much yet about action. And so Future Earth and its commitment to bringing this to local communities is certainly very needed. But I think we need 3 M's here because we've heard from Dr. Cruz the level of ambition, but I think you have, and we have some challenges to address. One is money, another is manpower, but I think ultimately we need to turn this into a movement. So it's my 3 M's. We need more financial resources. I hope that the DOST and other agencies and even the LGUs through the Mandanas ruling will unleash that amount of resources that we need to make many future Earths in many LGUs across the country. Of course, we need more manpower, and I'm thrilled to hear that Future Earth is already a collaboration between different academics across the country. I think we need more. And actually, my question to Dr. Cruz is, how are we targeting the next generation of emerging scholars and practitioners who will be future Earth scientists of the Philippines? Maybe from the national scientists to the future Earth scientists. I think that will be a great mentoring program and capacity building program, so we can ensure that we have a cadre of the next generation of scholars and practitioners who will make the future Earth vision happen in the next 50 years. I think we need to think beyond the annual research budget cycles, but we should be thinking more long-term, and therefore we need that stream of manpower, and that will also need to be matched by enormous amount of resources that will provide us funding for programming, not in terms of years, but in terms of even decades. Some additional comments, and I think one way to also make the future Earth vision more digestible is to identify priority themes that are relevant for the Philippine context. Dr. Cruz already mentioned that there's an attempt to focus on some specific SDGs. Another approach is perhaps identifying themes where multiple SDGs can actually be addressed. So for example, a while ago, Sir Ino mentioned, I'm actually assuming a new hat beginning in October. We are establishing a new center in Malaysia. It's called the Sunway Center for Planetary Health. And we were able to persuade the Henry C. of Malaysia to actually invest in this new center. It will be housed in Sunway University. And to make our scope much narrower, now we identified 5 major themes: preventing the next pandemic, tackling the climate emergency, achieving food security, creating healthy cities, and promoting fairer economy. So just within those 5 alone, there's a lot that can be done, but that framework actually guides us to narrow our scope, but also to unleash funding, because a lot of the funders actually are focusing on either 1 or 2 of those themes. I am excited to hear that Cavite State University is committed to becoming an SDG-aligned university. In fact, Sunway University in Malaysia had made a very strong commitment to the SDGs. They are host to the Jeffrey Sachs Center for Sustainable Development, and we know that Jeffrey Sachs is one of the architects of the MDGs, which was the precursor to the SDGs. And in fact, because of the new Center for Planetary Health, Sunway also made the commitment to become the first planetary health-oriented university in the world. So we're actually revamping the entire curriculum for the undergraduate programs. And we want, our hope is that every undergrad student, whether you're from accounting or engineering or veterinary medicine, you're actually receiving core competencies in planetary health and sustainable development. So there'll be a core curriculum, and maybe for instance, if you're from UP, how can we embed that in the general education, of all UP students, regardless of your college? I'm pretty sure I have so much to share, and I think ultimately, Future Earth is definitely an exciting endeavor. I would love to collaborate more and even be part of this journey. We'll find ways to expand our positive footprint, not the carbon footprint. We'll try to recruit more young people. The young people now, despite the suffering caused by COVID-19, are so energized and hopeful. They want to use their talents, their creativities to help address these pressing issues of their generation. They will be the adults of the future, and they want to make sure that they do not have to fix a lot of mess when it's their turn to be at the leadership helm. And that's why they're very excited to participate. I think we need to create more platforms for them. And finally, and this is triggered by the comment of the Sir Doy. He said that a lot of the LGUs want to be Singapore. But I think as future Earth scientists, as planetary health scientists, we also need to educate our leaders from local to national. We need to start very difficult conversations asking the question, do we really want to be like Singapore? Because Singapore, for instance, is a small city-state that has achieved a very high level of human well-being. Of course, there are still many challenges in that country, from migrant inclusion to the promotion of political freedoms. But it is actually a country that has already exceeded all its planetary boundaries. So there's actually a study by the University of Leeds which studied all the countries in the world, which among the countries in the world have actually exceeded the planetary boundaries while achieving good well-being. You can imagine the United States already exceeded all the boundaries. Singapore already exceeded the boundaries. In fact, the Philippines has not exceeded any boundary. But the problem with the Philippines is we have so much shortfall in terms of achieving high levels of human development. So we're, in terms of the environment, we're doing fine. In terms of the human aspect, we are doing, very worse compared to other countries. And that study actually identified Vietnam as being closest to the ideal country that protects the planetary boundaries and also achieves a high level of human development. So I think we need to start those kinds of difficult conversations, provide them with alternative blueprints for the future, because ultimately the future Earth that we want will only be achieved if we will refashion our economies and re-engineer our societies. I'll stop there for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ranso, for your comments. Very intriguing comments. I especially remember your comments on we need more actions rather than analysis of metrics, and the issues that you raise: money, manpower, and movement. And I think we need to also ask this later on to National Scientist Luli on sustaining the efforts of the Future Earth Philippines. Like while we are obtaining, would like to achieve sustainability and resilience, we also would like to continue on our pursuit of sustainability and resilience in the near future. Okay, at this point, we'd like to invite the questions from our audience. And may I call on from the US, Dr. Joel Coelho from University of Arizona. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Dr. Luli. It's very good to see you, and thank you for your presentation. I fully agree that it's very important to bring the initiatives of Future Earth Philippines to the local government unit, because really, as you show, that there is that gap between ecological footprint and the biocapacity of the country. And really the impact of that gap is most keenly felt, most powerfully felt in the local level. So the local government units really are in the best position to determine and prioritize what problems they will be addressing. So my question is, does Future Earth Philippines provide facilitation or even capacity building to help the local government units make decisions really in properly determining what their priorities are? That's one. And then the second is, do you also facilitate the linkages between the local government units in addressing those local problems with the appropriate regional units of departments, such as DENR, DOSD, and so on and so forth?
Maybe, yeah, I'll just say briefly that we have I mean, we have responded to the request of the DOST Pampanga and request of the LGUs there to for the workshop that we are now doing. And in all this, whenever we hold workshops, we start off with reports, lectures from the regional development authority, from the OST, from the provincial government. So, and we invite, if necessary, we invite people from the Department of Agriculture, DNR, as needed, for that particular LGU and communities. And also, I think we always make sure that there will be representatives from the academy. And with Cavite State U, what we're going to, I suggested that, and I've been suggesting this before, that if you want to have future, to encourage the younger ones, we should incorporate, sessions on sustainability, future Earth, in all CWTS courses. This is a required course for first year or second year college students, required dyan sa lahat, so that all our students should be exposed, through that civic welfare training service course. And I volunteered for that course for 5 years, and bringing these students to communities. And I think all the students can be used so that we can start citizen science type activities. So, to teach the scientific approach to communities, so these kids will be able to help them. And Doi will have some more to say about that.
Okay. Can I have one quick follow-up, please? One follow-up question.
Yes.
So, Luli, with this, the provinces that you work with and the localities in Pampanga, in Bulacan, in Cavite, can you give one example of a locality that has identified one particular problem that they have decided to address? Can you give an example, please?
Well, like the one that I was with a group. So for the workshops, we divide them into groups, and I was with a group that was in Bulacan, just preparing for the opening of the international airport there. So they said, and then present there were somebody from DTI, from the university, from DOST, and the development offices. And they agreed that they will help the native, native food industry, cottage industries, and help them really develop so that they will become, to help them with the packaging, modernizing the equipment, and also teaching them. But this will start off with the consultation first of this group, because many of these processors, those that produce the food, are not even registered with DTI. So DTI, they're not, as far as DTI is concerned, because they're not registered, invisible sila, hindi sila napapasama sa mga activities for training, etc. So the first thing that they will do is survey. Sino ba talaga ang dapat tulungan, then meet them, and in talking about the problems. So dapat they're kasama. Inclusiveness means kasama sila pag-identify ng problem, pagbuo ng project, pag-implement ng project, pag-monitor ng project. Dapat that's the kind of inclusivity that we want. Then they will be there from the very start for the identification of the problem.
Thank you very much, Luli. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Joel. Can I follow that particular question of Joel? At the moment, LGUs are mandated to prepare their plans on comprehensive land use plan, disaster risk reduction management plan, and investment plan, and so on. These are actually done not by the in-house, but by a certain group or consulting firm helping the LGUs. Is capacity building, particularly on these aspects, one of the activities, priority activities of Future Earth Philippines, ma'am?
Doi, maybe you can say more about this.
Yes, we realize that you have a lot of consulting firms like Planadas, for instance, doing the plans for many of these LGUs. And the capacity building that we're doing is striking at the core of the problem. The core of the problem is that the LGU leaders do not have the confidence to do it themselves.
Yeah.
They think they are not professional enough, and maybe this is our fault that we put ourselves, scientists and engineers, we make them feel as if hindi nila maabot. Kaya pag sila lang ang gumawa, they will think that it's not good enough. Especially they are competing with others. So this is why they subcontract. But when they do that, they do not own it anymore. They are given solutions that are not fit for their problems. So what we are doing, and this is very elementary, we run them through a problem tree analysis exercise, identifying, coming up with the focal problem, identifying the causes of that problem. And when we do that, we say, you always have to look for all the causes, the political, economic, sociocultural, technological, legal, environmental, PESEL. So we are giving them the templates so that they can do it. And looking by the reflections that they are so happy. This is the first time many of them have been in government 30 years, you know. This is the first time they really understood their problem. It's when you do a problem tree, and then the causes linked to the focal problem linked to the consequences, and we say the consequences will have to be consequences for individuals and families, communities, and nation. 3 levels of consequences. When they look at that and they do it together with some private sector representatives, with the regional level and NGOs, then they realize that they have come with a picture that is worth keeping. And of course, they have to update it. But now they understand their problems. And now they realize that ito palang away-away. When they say, oh, that's not the cause. The cause is this one, the technology or the corruption. They realize when you have a problem tree, they are all interconnected, right? And then you realize that, then we tell them, choose a strategic pathway. What is it that you can do with your mandate and your resources now? Where do you start? And they start with something lower, not the focal problem that they started with. And then we tell them, now that you have a strategic pathway, this is a way by which you can farm out the other strategic pathways, and we will have a whole of government approach. So anyway, that's what we do. So what we give them now is really confidence building. And we are also getting real initiatives because of this effort. For instance, they are now looking into coastal barangays in Bulacan. They have the problem of salt intrusion. And now they realize, and we tell them, oh, we can help bring to you the national scientists that can help you with understanding that problem. So, but the core really is you work with what they have. Don't give them the problem. Let them identify the problem, and then you just classify it among the SDGs. And then you bring the big guns to help them help themselves. Basically, that's what we're doing.
Okay, thank you, Sir Doi. I see a number of hands raised. At this point, may I recognize President Giselle? Go ahead, President Giselle.
Thank you, Ino, and congratulations to Luli, Doi, and Renzo. I'd like to take this opportunity to perhaps call on some of our participants who are involved in such efforts on the LGU and the provincial level. I'd like to recognize the presence of EVSU President Dennis, who works very closely with Alvin and Joel. because I think one way to do it, Luli, Doi, and Renzo, is to showcase some LGUs and provinces where we are making a lot of headway with government at various levels, working with academia. And here in PAASE, we are ready to help you in any way we can by developing education materials, not just for industry and for academia, but also for LGUs. And after President Dennis of EBSU, I would like to call on Mario Santo Domingo, who's our lead person in PAASE, our incoming president of PAASE. And he is making major strides in the province of Rizal. And later, I will tell you a bit about efforts in Bataan. We are also signing an MOU with them. And Luli is very familiar with how well Bataan is being run by the provincial governor. So at this point, may I request Alvin and President Dennis to say a few words about the programs in Leyte.
Morning, everyone. My apology, my is not there's a problem with our
the audio is
information of everyone. But before anything else, for inviting us here to be part of this very informative talk. Okay, so EBSU is indeed grateful that we have this engagement with us, and this time EBSU is also working on with what we call the I Start, which is a UST program, and the university has conceived a discovery project which we call as IGE project, or the Intelligent Greenbacks. So this is indeed in cooperation also with the local government and the province of Leyte Governor Leyte. So I'd like to present the details on hopefully on Thursday.
Thank you, President Dennis. Maybe Alvin can also speak about, yes? It's a bit choppy, President Dennis, but all right. So perhaps, thank you so much. Maybe we can call on Alvin. Alvin, please.
Okay, Alvin, go ahead.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Thank you, Giselle, and and of course, National Science Luli Cruz. This is Doi, and of course Enzo. Thank you very much for those comments. Yes, I think it is really important that we bring these initiatives to the local government level, at the community level, so we engage more common people to this, crusade or programs that matters too much, to our communities and the people. So in Leyte, we have so many initiatives now that are taking place at the barangay level, at the community level, municipality level. But then this is actually driven by the program, the economic development program of the province. So it's very important that our programs connects closely with what the local government actually wants for their economic and of course other development, social development, or even environmental, development. So that's what we are doing in Leyte. In the next, September 24, Giselle, next Friday, we have another Fireside chat, which I will co-host with Giselle, looking at, very specific programs in Leyte where, State University led by EBSU and the provincial government, as well as the government agencies and the industry, the farmers, are actually working together towards a common goal. And I hope that in the future, in the near future, we can integrate Future Earth Philippines program in those kind of initiatives. So let's wait, Giselle, for that Fireside Chat 29 next Friday.
24, September 24, Alvin.
Is that, sorry, September 24, yeah. September 24, that's Fireside Chat 29, I think, yeah.
And we'd like to say that Governor Petilla has confirmed his attendance. And we've heard about Governor Petilla from Joel for the longest time. I finally had a chance to meet him. So the leadership of the governor is very important. At this point, I'd like to call Mario Santo Domingo, who's leading our efforts in Rizal. And we'd like to help Future Earth achieve its goals. So how can we do that, Mario, in the province of Rizal?
Yes, so basically our efforts in Rizal are centered more on history and heritage and education, but we really we would have like a while back to integrate principles that are very much friendly to the environment, conservation, and basically the principles of sustainability. Except that sometimes it's difficult for community organizations to convince the local governments to buy into the ideas that are new to them. And so basically I have more questions than answers, or things that I want to share, because I would like to know, in your experience, what are the most common entry point, for example, of organizations like yours in local governments? How do you incentivize the local governments buying into the programs that you want the LGUs to adapt, and what are the basic metrics that you use to measure the success of your programs? So those three questions.
Do we ask Doi to reply? Doi, would you like to reply to the questions of Mario?
Yes. The main entry point is basically trying to find out what the local governments are trying to do. And if you ask them what are they trying to do, and you try to tell them that we can bring resources, capabilities, and opportunities to help you do it, then that's all that is needed. Of course, they will then want to find out, can we afford you? Can we? And if you are actually a volunteer group, and if you will tell them that we are actually going to bring in resources in your jurisdiction that you have perhaps not used, like the state colleges and universities, which we have access through organizations like the National Research Council of the Philippines, they actually participate. We are doing that now in Bohol. Ubay, Bohol is the largest in population and in territory. And when we talk to Representative Aumentado, who is the congressman there, sabi niya, I filed the bill to make Bohol into a science city. I'm sorry, Ubay into a science city. And that's the entry point. So he said, can you help us? Well, we said, yes, we can do a research project into that. So he helped put money into the National Research Council of the Philippines, and we did a study looking into Bohol, Ubay becoming a science city, because you know that like Muñoz, there are already Carabao centers, stock farms, fish hatcheries, and a lot of national level organizations and projects there. You even have an airport in Ubay. And they have a wonderful new building. They don't know how to use it, but it was done using money for disaster relief. But we told them that you can deliberately use a Science City method as an aspirational model of bringing an essentially urbanizing area and bring the advantages of cityhood and make Ubay not only a space but also a place for scientists. And if you are familiar with the Bernidos of Hagna, Bohol, you realize how magical this can be if you just organize it, right? The Bernidos of Bohol worked with a dilapidated school that they inherited, a foundation, and they turned it into one of the best physics schools in the country. And I think that tells us about what you can do if only you will work with the with the motivation and the energy of the local. So that's what we do. I know you had two more questions. The metrics, of course, when we do these projects with them, we are teaching them log framing, the logical objectives framework, right? Which is being used by ADB. So there is the vertical alignment, aligning the project with the project output, with the organizational outcome, with the societal impact. And then the important thing, as far as the metrics is concerned, is bringing in the control logic, which is you have an objective, what are your indicators, what are your targets, your means of verification, and what can go wrong, and how do you manage that? This is what we give them in addition to the problem tree analysis that we were telling you about. And they've been able to do this. And they already have, for instance, in Nueva Ecija, the PPDO chief who participated with us, his problem was Nueva Ecija is the food basket of Luzon, maybe even the country, but our farm hands, those who are mobile, they shift from place to place because they don't have land of their own. They are, I think it's at 80% of all farmers. Now, can you imagine for over a century, they've been like that. So sabi niya, paano namin sila tutulungan? We don't even know who they are. So now they are going to do an inventory of their farm hands to be able to help them. So that's a very specific project that came out of our effort. Thank you.
So I thank you. So,
Okay, Michelle?
yeah.
May I recognize Dr. Renzo? Yes, raise his hand for a while.
Yes,
Go ahead, Renzo.
Sure, thank you po, sir and ma'am. This is a very rich conversation, and I'm really liking all the ideas. I just want to add to some of the thoughts. No, for example, I think Sir Mario, you asked about entry points. And for example, there's one entry point for this kind of academia government linkage that is very underutilized in the country. And Sir Ino knows this, the People's Survival Fund. The People's Survival Fund, for instance, is a 1 billion peso fund, which is available annually, now administered by the Department of Finance, the Land Bank of the Philippines. It is actually a fund for local governments to create innovations in the area of climate adaptation and mitigation. Unfortunately, and I believe, Sir Ino, you might have the more exact numbers because you're part of the national panel. Out of the hundreds of applications for the past decade since it was established, only I think a dozen LGUs benefited from the fund. And the main reason is that a lot of the applications perhaps are not meeting the standards. And that echoes what I think Sir Doy was mentioning a while ago, that LGUs want to do amazing stuff, but there's limited, for instance, technical capacity. And that's why they rely on external consultants for the creation of these plans. And that's why, for example, that PSF, very soon we're starting a project. We're working with 3 LGUs. We're looking for the LGUs to help them enhance the health component of the local climate change adaptation plan, with the hope of turning it into a highly robust and high quality proposal for the People's Survival Fund. And so that is one entry point. And yes, there's so many issues that can be entry points, but I think we need to be strategic and entrepreneurial. Where are the funds? Can we tap these funds? Can we turn the plans into concrete project proposals? So that's one. In relation to that, I think, and I'm not calling for the obsolescence of independent consultants, consulting firms, but I think, since we're all, I guess, academics here, I heard there are university presidents here. That's amazing. I think what we need to aim for is that the nearest university to the local government will be the consultant of first choice, even before they start thinking of a private consulting firm or an individual consultant to help them construct or develop the land use change plan, the health plan, the climate change plan, disaster risk reduction plan. The first place that they should go to is the nearest university. But they will only do that if there is a strong academia government linkage, and there's actually capacity in the academia to deliver, right? To provide technical assistance. But I understand that one problem among academic institutions in the Philippines is the workload. No, we are all expected to do a lot of teaching, and we have very little time for research and extension. So I think that is something we need to address. And then finally, and in relation to that, all my comments are related. No, we need to definitely develop the capacity of academics, especially the next generation. I think I'm from that generation. That's why I'll keep on emphasizing that point. I've benefited from world-class training. I hope that we will have a new cadre of future Dr. Lulis, no? Who will be leading Philippine science and sustainability in the next couple of years. And I just want to share, in the next 2 years, we in Planetary Health Philippines and in St. Luke's, thanks to a grant from Germany, will be establishing a planetary health fellowship focusing on wildlife conservation and zoonotic spillover prevention. So we want to make sure that the next pandemic does not emerge from the jungles of the Philippines or from a poultry farm in one of our islands. And that means we need translational and transdisciplinary research. And so we're launching that program, and we will ask all of you for nominations, because we will create a very tight cohort of around 15 to 20 young scholars, a veterinarian, an anthropologist, and microbiologist, an economist, a physician, etc., to work on these issues together, generate, cutting-edge research, but ultimately make sure that the evidence is translated to policy and practice to ensure that we prevent the next pandemic. So maybe Future Earth can also organize a similar fellowship program for the next generation, and let's find the money for it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Renzo. At this point, maybe call on Cecil Reyes. Cecil, sorry for the long wait. Go ahead. Cecil?
Yeah, good morning. Actually, this is just a comment. I'm involved right now with the USAID RIDE evaluation. And so I can confirm that there are already 8 regional inclusive innovation centers established in the Philippines through the initiatives of the DTI, DOST, CHED, and other partners. And in RIC Davao region, the LGU is very active. Of course, their target are the MSMEs, and the HEIs there participating right now is the University of the Philippines, Mindanao, and Ateneo de Davao University. We have a similar setup here in Region 3, that is in Central Luzon, Tribe Central Luzon, and the DOST, DTI, and CHED, particularly CHED, is very active. So what I'm trying to say, so there are 8, no? There's one in Bicol, and there's one in Zamboanga, there's one in Cebu, and there's one in Northern Mindanao, in Cagayan de Oro and Iligan. So what I'm just thinking is, maybe since TRIDE program will end next year, and our RIC, is parang bata pa, kailangan niya ng support kasi the money from that innovation council, like 1 billion, and the Mandanas money will still have to come. So maybe Future Earth could link, with the RICs. They can select the region first, Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cecile.
Yeah, very good suggestion, Cecile. Yes.
Thank you, Ma'am.
I think
Cecile, let us know more about, can you give me, maybe we can talk later.
Yes, ma'am, I will. We're still finalizing our reports. This is confidential. Pero
okay.
walo na po ang na-establish nila, and the plan of the DTI is established in all regions and all provinces of the country. And they're waiting for that fund. Mayroong sinatawag na National Innovation Council under the NEDA, and there is of course the Philippines Innovation Act, no? And then mayroon silang roadmap, yung Inclusive Philippine Innovation and Entrepreneurship Roadmap, signed by 7 government agencies. Very strong po ang mga Chamber of Commerce dito, especially sa Cagayan de Oro, Bulacan, Iligan, Davao, and many others.
Thank you, Cecile.
Yeah,
thank you. Okay, Ransom mentioned about the PSF, the People's Survival Fund. And indeed, there are several proposals already received and evaluated, and only very few passed the evaluation, simply because they have not met the requirements. The requirement is that the climate change adaptation action should be innovative, not the usual business as usual climate change adaptation that you get from the proposals. So I think Future Earth Philippines and perhaps also members of PAASE can assist local government units close to your area to prepare good proposals for funding under the PSF. So there are lots of money available. It's just have to be tapped with good proposals. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead.
Thanks everyone for presenting your tips to the table to the group of Doc Luli. Definitely, it's a worthwhile endeavor. I just wanted to add to the discussion to support what Renzo is highlighting. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about money, but money is the gas to get to anywhere. That's our fuel. And we need to find exactly. So your tip, Renzo, on the survival fund is good. To me, my additional aspect to it, because I'm just starting to, is to look into the CSR NGO foundations of the corporations on who would want, because I haven't heard in the whole presentation. I saw that private sector is very much part of it. And I'm all about the private sector involving ourselves, involving them in our endeavors indeed. So I would like to ask anyone in the audience, because I'm familiar with the Unilab Foundation, that I'm part of the system program that they spun off as a startup foundation, if you think about it that way. And clearly, I wanted to see how we can support Doc Luli and the team in order to give you the support from the private sector. I don't know if it's PBSP, Philippine Business for Social Progress. I don't know if it's PBED, but I'm scanning the whole environment, whether you have been able to tap into an existing private NGO or foundation that can support Future Philippines. So I just want to ask the team if you did, and if course, I'll be on the lookout now, knowing what you guys do, to see who might potentially provide the initial seed funds on their particular initiatives as well. But thank you for presenting Doc Luli and Renzo and Dong. Definitely for, I like the approach indeed, because I was part of the NAST approach on the problem tree, being able to, it's like similar to what we do in medical device development. We find the user need. And how do you find the user need? You go to the user, you go to the town, you go to the LGU, what do they need? And that's exactly what you're doing. It's just commendable. And again, out of that consultation will come out what they truly need, and we design accordingly to that need. And we will provide our output plans if we were to pursue that particular avenue of developing a product for that particular user need. So it's a very, very logical process that you guys are already implementing. Now I'm just wanting to make sure that you also scan not only the public funding, but also the private funding, starting from the foundations of various corporations, may it be local or international. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you all.
Yeah,
At this
can
point,
I
may I
just-
call on Giselle? Go ahead, Giselle.
Luli first, and then I will speak.
I was just going to say that no, we have not yet tapped private funds. At this point, DOST lang ang aming kausap muna. So we really need help. There's a suggestion that perhaps Future Earth should become an NGO, but you know, I mean, kumakapa pa, and Al, we need your help.
I'm here, Doc Luli, anytime. Definitely, but thank you for at least presenting what you guys want to do. And I'm all ears in terms of your team's efforts, and I'll keep it in mind. And as soon as I encounter something, I'll go get in touch with the team. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Great suggestion. So, Luli, I had the same comment that to raise funds, perhaps you should first be transformed to a foundation. So PAASE is
Okay.
now a foundation, so you can receive money, because when you have the money, then you can control the way you will use it. But I have two suggestions from NGOs. So we are aware of the National Resilience Council, which is being run by Bobby Romulo and Antonio Tony Loizaga. And we are signing an MOU with them. PAASE is signing an MOU with them on our projects in Bataan. Okay, that would be with the Bataan provincial governor. Now, other partners for teaching and getting to the LGUs, we have the UPNCPAG. They are currently undertaking training of vice mayors. In fact, with a foreign group, with the Taiwan group that we are close to, Professor Wu. So they have a training of LGUs vice mayors that's ongoing, okay, on agribusiness and other related matters to governance. Another potential would be, of course, the UP Resilience Center, of which Kino is a part of, and is headed by Mahar Agmay. So I think what we are learning today is that linkages and partnerships are important for you to get to the right authorities. Then with PAASE, who might have experts who might help you with the technical aspects of your workshops, okay, the materials. And then the final point I think that we need to stress is linking with the provincial governor. As we can see in Leyte, we have great promise because of the support of Governor Petilla. And then in Bataan, we're doing this with Governor Abet Garcia. And then Mario, I understand, is linking up his STEM education program and sociocultural initiatives in Rizal with Governor Inares. Okay? Now, this brings me to my comment about the program in Rizal, which involves Unilab system, whose president is Al. It's focused on early education. We're talking about a dearth of experts in our country. You think about it, there are only 200 PhDs per million population in our country. Now add to that our expats, say in PAASE. Okay? So that's still a very, very small number. If we organize ourselves by regions, we can make an inventory of how many PAASE scientists and engineers and medical doctors there are in every region of the country. And this is something that I have been espousing or championing. I had a survey where you're supposed to identify a region that you might be able to help, your province. No? So maybe that kind of initiative is good, because Alvin is doing it in his home province of Leyte.
Yes.
And Mario is doing it in the province where he and his wife studied, Morong, Rizal. So things like this. And then we have Bataeños who are helping in the Bataan project, and we know the Bernidos are there in Hagna because they are from Chris is there. And the emphasis now is on early education. So to clarify, the Hagna school is on, basic education. And their physics efforts, DOI, are in collaboration with MSU IIT and University of San Carlos. Okay, so they do research, but their teaching is on the basic education level. And that's making the big difference. And we see that in Vietnam, the correlation is between performance in math and science in basic education. And then, as you say, now the way they are approaching a whole of nation to solve their problems at the LGU levels, and also for their productivity, to the point where they are now exporting rice to us. So it's a whole of nation approach in Vietnam, and we're not doing that here. So we want to help Future Earth and count on PAASE to help you with consultants, experts in the various areas of science and technology and engineering, as we are going to do in Bataan. So again, we look at models of governance, and I think Bataan, which is part of Central Luzon region, is a good model, because you have Governor Abet, who spoke at one of our fireside chats, and will speak again. We're aiming for October 1 during our MOU signing on many aspects. First is this metrics, Mario. Okay, he's setting up metrics. Then, of course, his father already invested in education. And now we have the Bataan Peninsula State University, where we have leaders like John Kokoy Dizon. And he voiced the same observation as Doi and Renzo and Eno, that they have so much teaching load, okay, and not enough time for research. So we're going to try to help them with that, with PAASE experts guiding them in R&D, led by Gobet and CP David and others. So then you have a focus on housing and township. That is our main program of the governor, because he says livelihood through agribusiness, agriculture is not sufficient. You need to give the people, self-respect by owning a home. So he's developing it. It's really a whole of province development. So finally, I think there is this major concern about sustainability and climate change mitigation. And all of this is being done through the National Resilience Council, led by Tony Loizaga and Bobby Rommel. So we have models, really, and we hope that Future Earth can also get involved in these programs as you pursue your own specific programs at the LGU training level.
Yes, thanks, Giselle. I'm glad to hear all about this effort, initiatives that are going on. And it will really be nice to sort of link everybody together, everybody concerned with sustainability. And because as it is, the way the country looks now is parang nakakalungkot. No. And kailangan natin everybody's help.
Thank you for that. And at this point, maybe Eno can tell us about his initiatives in Pangasinan, which would be our fourth province to help, in PAASE. And at that point, we will have to close our chat today, which has been very, very, very productive and insightful, I must say. So, Ino, talk about Pangasinan perhaps, and then you can close the chat and thank everyone today.
Okay, thank you very much, Giselle. As mentioned, there is a new initiative now initiated by the Department of Agriculture themselves. They have actually consolidated 100 hectares of rice farms in Pangasinan to demonstrate how the new technologies can be used to increase productivity of farms as well as the income of farmers in Pangasinan. They have actually 21 sites in the Philippines, but they're starting with the Pangasinan site. So we're helping the project implementers through the use of computer-based apps on planting days, water management, nutrient management for rice, and also on identification of pests and diseases for rice ecosystems. And we are doing this together with other partners from state universities and colleges, not only UPLB, but also Pangasinan State University. So we're just in the initial stage, and we hope to be able to assist our farmers in this area, particularly also our extension workers, because they are in need of tools and technologies. So while we may have tools and technologies developed in our academic institutions, they have not actually reached the farmers themselves, nor the technicians. So through this particular initiative, we hope we'll be able to exercise and demonstrate effective partnership and collaboration with our partners in Pangasinan. So we'll be doing this also in other areas, hopefully using the model and experiences that our colleagues like Alvin and Joel are having in Leyte and other locations in the country. So we hope we can count on other PAASE members, as well as also our partners in other initiatives and programs such as the Future Earth Philippines. So at this point, we'd like also to thank our national scientists and also our two reactors for their excellent presentations and discussions on Future Earth Philippines, providing a new way of thinking and also a new way of looking at things and how we can achieve or guide us in our journey towards development, towards resilience and sustainability. And I'm glad several issues have been raised, like looking at the sustainability of the program itself, highlighting the need for resources to sustain the activities, and also the manpower, and also as highlighted earlier, the need for active movement towards resilience and sustainability as expounded by Future Earth Philippines. And I think, well, this also provides an opportunity for collaborations and partnership among stakeholders, particularly those from the academe and also from state universities, higher education institutions, as well as also the local government units, as well as local communities. So we hope we can count on our partners and our members in PAASE and also affiliated projects and programs funded by government and also private institutions. So with this, we wish to thank National Scientist Luli Cruz and also our reactors, Dr. Renzo, who left already for another engagement, and also Dr. Doy Romero for their contributions. And of course, our audience and our participants watching us or joining us in this PAASE Fireside Chat number 28. So we'll see you again. Go ahead, Doy. Go ahead, Doy.
Yes, you might want to take a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me do that. But while we're doing that, please, everyone, can you turn on your
Turn on.
windows, please? So
Okay.
let me plug in the Fireside chat this afternoon at 2 p.m. And this is about coconut, alternative coconut product development and intercropping. And this is being, well, hosted by PAASE with CAMP, the Coalition for Agriculture Modernization of the Philippines. So this is my first screen, and then the second one. Everyone, please. Okay. And we hope that LC President Dennis will also join us. And well, we're thinking of the location of where we might have our alternative coconut product development site. And you can almost guess where it might be. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Sean. We have, well, many PAASE members here today, as well as our friends, our PAASE friends. So
Okay. Happy Foundation Day for Los Baños.
Happy Foundation Day for Los Baños.
Happy
8:30
Foundation Day.
Cecil, you might want to join us. Okay, 2 p.m. Coconut Product Development and Intercropping.
Sige pa.
Lifting the bottom
Senator
half.
Raimundo.
Imagine that, huh? Coconut farmers earning less than 5,000 a month. Okay, how can
Sorry, Giselle, I can't make it. I have a plenary with teacher,
Oh,
chemical
oh,
engineer. So,
Okay.
watch the report.
next time na lang.
Everything is recorded.
Okay,
Everything is
I'll listen
posted
to
on our
it.
website.
Perfect.
Noel, thanks for joining.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much,
Good to
all.
see everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Giselle. Thanks,
Sean.
Ina.
Thanks, Dr. Lee.
Thank you.
I forgot to
Bye-bye.
sneak again.
Did you have the photo, Giselle?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Alvin.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you, Dr. De Paz.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Giselle.
Ingat kayo.
Very fruitful.
Ay, nako, Luli. Thank
Dr.
you.
Luli
Thank you
Cruz,
so much for all
Doy.
your
Yeah.
efforts and your leadership, no? Oo. Yeah. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
See you.
Giselle, I'll speak to you. Hi, Sean. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ma'am Luli.
Bye, sir.